Hey everybody, welcome to another DeLorean Tech live stream and part two of our DeLorean prices dropping. Well, they certainly did in that last auction that we had. The time machine that went for just over $101,000 here on Bring a Trailer. But after we did the live stream, we did actually have a comment here on our video by Man in the Iron Mask, and he believes that prices are 100% dropping. You can get a very good running car in the high 40s to mid 50s, and it will continue. So who knows, right? I think there's a lot of guys out there that want it to drop so they can get a car. Other guys out there that don't want it to drop because they own a car or two. Then there's our owners that are kind of hoping it drops so they can land a second car. So it really varies out there. But, you know, when it's all said and done, our price is beginning to drop. That's kind of the question, and that's where part two comes in. So part two, we're looking at a stock DeLorean. It's 44,088, and not a bad car. It's got only 5,000 miles on it, so this one might get a bit more than what we saw. I think that last auction we had before the time machine was in the was about 70,000. That was a pretty clean car too, and that's kind of what prompted these other videos here, asking the question: are DeLorean prices dropping? So available cars versus demand, plenty out there. The time machine that's sold is in bad shape, according to Man in the Iron Mask, from an engine standpoint. Well, it looked, it looked pretty original. The thing I think that hurt it the most myself, obviously, and if you've seen the live stream for this one, part one, he didn't have a driving video. Mistake number one. Could have had maybe 140, 150, who knows. But he's also saying that the build isn't that good either, the time machine build. So easier to point out what parts are correct and incorrect. I mean, I wouldn't know. When I see all this, it looked okay, but like I said before, I'm not an expert on time machine conversions. Says here really needs a lot of upgrades on parts, but these cars will continue to go down likely through the next year. Not a good build that you see here, but most people wouldn't know. Exactly, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I wouldn't know. If you're a time machine enthusiast out there or a builder yourself, you may have been able to see a bunch. I didn't see much here as far as anything wrong with it. So in Man in the Iron Mask opinion, not a very good time machine, but he's seen worse. I've seen worse too, and I feel like worse has actually gotten a bit more on Bring a Trailer. So if we go back to those other time machines, there's this one here. This is the one I think from DMC, Florida. That one took 159. That was a pretty nice looking car, I thought. And then there was the other time machine that took a bit more. I think 178. Now, I could be wrong, but this might be that Gen 1 Video Bob car. I don't know. I don't remember. There was one Video Bob car that even Video Bob himself said he was surprised it went for so much because that was one of his earlier builds, and it wasn't one of his more meticulous builds, I think he said. So this might be the one. I don't remember. But I mean, compared to compared to this one, the one that sold for 101, that's quite a bit cheaper. I mean, that's a huge difference, right? So anyway, are they dropping? Well, at least as far as time machines go, 101. I mean, it felt like it wasn't too long ago that we saw 106 for a stock DeLorean, that 569 mile DeLorean. Of course, when you have a sort of a museum car here, those are going to fetch more. It is what it is, right? So this one took 106 just a few months ago. But here we are today. This one's at 44.88. So let's take a look and see what this car is all about. And let me see if I can put the chat in here as well. So Voracious Patriot, I really don't know how Long Beach DeLorean is getting away. Long Beach DeLorean, I don't know who that is getting away with charging $85,000 for a time machine conversion, seeing as how you're not going to be able to buy a drivable donor for $25,000. Yeah, it's I don't know who Long Beach DeLorean is, but you're right. I mean, if they're charging $85 for a time machine conversion now, and just for the conversion, not the DeLorean. The DeLorean's another, 60, 70,000 potentially. But let's take a look at this car, this stock DeLorean here. So initially sold in New York, and time spent in several states before being acquired by the seller. This was in 2020. So again, low mileage, 5,000 miles, VIN 3016. So it's an early-ish VIN, probably not a gas. Oh, it is a gas flap. Let's check that out. Let's go through some of these photos here. It's a gas flap. It looks pretty good. I like the stance. I think it looks pretty nice. So we'll just run through these photos real quick here. I like the car a lot. It looks pretty nice, and it's only got 5,000 miles on it. A lot of good close-ups here. I would think that this would fetch more than the last stock DeLorean, so I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say over 70,000 for this one here. However, you never know. Our price is dropping. That's really the question. That's really the subject of this video series. So we're going to pay close attention because it just seems like Bring a Trailer is and has been setting prices for DeLoreans. Obviously, it's kind of the #1 auction site right now. But I like the look of this car here. Body lines lining up with the doors. Doors look pretty good. Although, here you go right here with the hood. It's a little out of alignment there. Not too bad, but it's visible. Again, this is an earlier VIN, so you're going to have those sorts of issues. They're more common with the earlier VINs that may or may not have gone through the QA centers. So the guy's got a lot of photos on here. And these are really good photos. He's trying to point out as many issues as he can here with the car. So if you're bidding on this car, I recommend, downloading the photos and zooming in on them, making sure that, everything's represented correctly. So these are Lexington tires. I don't remember. I don't hear. Oh, he's got different tires. He's got Mastercraft Avengers in the back, and he's got these Lexingtons up in the front. So probably older tires. I don't know. Here's the interior. We are also going to try to get Chris Miles on the phone as well, like we usually do here. So we'll run through these photos, formulate an opinion, and we'll give Chris Miles a call and kind of get his opinion. He's always got something of value to add when it comes to DeLoreans and pointing out potential issues, that kind of thing. Quite a few photos here, which is good. Interior looks pretty clean. It looks pretty original. So, nothing completely out of the ordinary here. So it is a manual transmission car. The other one was an automatic, if I remember correctly. So that could also affect the price. The manual cars are a bit more sought after than the automatics. That's just a preference sort of thing. But also, a lot of guys like it because that was the same car they had in Back to the Future. It was a manual transmission car. There was a lot of guys out there that want DeLoreans because they also like Back to the Future. Of course, there's a lot of the purists out there that hate Back to the Future and everything it stands for. So you've got a broad spectrum of potential buyers out there. Obviously, that last car was all Back to the Future and didn't fetch much at all. I mean, compared to what we've seen prior to. And you don't see time machines on Bring a Trailer a whole lot. So we've got some major headliner issues here. So there's some money, and those are not easy to fix. Looks like he updated the struts. That's always good. Of course, those are pretty easy to install. He's got a cover. Nice. All right, so it's not a bad car. I mean, this is pretty decent. It's got a stainless steel bottle. Looks like he's updated the fuel lines. Those look a lot like the DPI fuel lines. I guess we're going to find out here in a little bit if he's got the maintenance records installed. Yeah, those look like them. Looks like he does not have the 13 hose set. So you got your return line has not been changed out yet. He just still has the original. So not bad, but obviously not ideal. You're going to want to change out the other 4 lines as well. If you just did the 9, that's kind of what it looks like. Without any other photos here, it's kind of hard to tell. So that'll need to be done. Again, not the priority. I think he's got the main 9 done, at least. But we'll find out whose fuel lines those are. Oh, he's got the Avo suspension. That's why you've got the stance looking the way it does. So that's always a good thing. The Avo and the iBox suspension. A little bit of corrosion here, but I mean that's fairly common with these cars. This looks a little suspect here, but not too bad. I've seen a hell of a lot worse. August 81 build. Oh, it's got some of the original stuff. So here's the fuel lines that he removed. He's got the old plastic bottle, a few other parts here. There's your Avo suspension. Looks like some invoices here from DMC. He even changed the banjo bolts and fittings, which is always good in case those are really corroded. You don't want to ignore those when you're doing the fuel lines. Let's see what we got here. Some coolant hoses, fuel filter stuff, fuel lines. So it looks like you got the fuel lines from DMC and not DPI. They all kind of look the same. Let's see here. He's got a braided stainless fuel lines, black set of 9. So he got the 9, but he's got another one over here. He might have changed out another fuel line. It's an $80 fuel line. That might have been the main supply line. Don't know for sure, but that's definitely possible. So probably all that needs to be done might be like a return line, frequency valve lines, that kind of thing. You can get those from like DeLorean Go. Here's an invoice from DeLorean Go. Can't really tell what it's for. Looking sideways here. All right, so that's it. Not a whole lot of maintenance records, but it doesn't look like he was, even close to being the original owner. Is several owners ago. So let's see what we got here. We're up to 44.88 still, so it's a little under half an hour. He's got some driving videos. And that's definitely something I wanted to point out. I did take a look at the auction before. He's got some engine running videos. I think we pointed these out in our last live stream, episode 1, part 1 of our DeLorean prices dropping. And he's got a driving video here. It sounds okay. It's driving all right. It does look like the sender has got some issues. The fuel sender, that's kind of a minor thing, and somewhat common. They've got replacement stuff for that. Chris Miles, again, he's been pretty good about being able to supply fuel senders in case you want to kind of use the originals. There are some aftermarket options out there as well. So the driving video is not that bad. It's a driving car. Let's see what else we got here. Driving video number 2. It's still at 44.88. So he's just showing the shifting here. It looks like it shifts pretty good. I didn't notice if he went through all the gears or not. That was kind of a quick video. It's got a third driving video here. Let's see what he's showing here. The creaks. So those creaks are pretty common with the car. Nothing to be really alarmed about. It's a 40-year-old car with a fiberglass underbody. That's just how it is, obviously. And then you have the interior, which is fairly old and original, 40 years old. So you're going to have these little creaks and stuff. It's got an engine startup here, or at least an engine running video. Let's see if we can turn that up a little bit. Sounds okay. Looks like he might have done a R134A conversion on the AC, potentially. It's hard to say. More than likely not, but we'll read that in the description. Here's another engine run video. Holds idle. All right, sounds okay. Let's see what else we got here. All right, so I don't remember which engine run video I just went through. Let's try this one again. See what he does differently here. That's just it idling right there. So he's got some good videos here. I mean, if you're gonna buy, sight unseen, like not in person, whatever, you gotta have these driving videos running. At least startup videos. It'd be cool to have a cold start, hot start. There really needs to be a guide for both sellers and buyers on Bring a Trailer and what you need to provide when it comes to DeLoreans, and really, if you want to get the most value, if you want to get the highest price for your car, you need to have a cold start, hot start, definitely some driving videos, the car idling. What else? I would say like slow driving through a parking lot, driving on the freeway. It can't hurt, right? But at least you've got a driving video. Unlike in the previous auction, there was nothing there. He ended up, probably paying for it in the end. We were talking about Time Machine for only $101,500. That's pretty good deal. I really wish the buyer of that, the winner of the auction, would reach out and let us know once he gets the car, what he thought about it. I couldn't see anything. I would have been happy with a Time Machine like that. Let's see where we're at here as far as the bidders. We got 22 minutes left, and Gibson Christ is currently the winning, or the high bidder rather. He's got other bids here. I don't see any wins. Looks like he's bidding on a few cars here. Bid on a Ferrari. cool. So what do we got in the comments here? Car appears to have a non-factory closing plate beneath the fuel tank. Seen in photos, among others, a plate in this car looks like it doesn't support the entire plastic tank as the original fuel. So you got some guys out here that are really looking at this car very closely. Speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and try to give Chris Miles a call here and see what he thinks about the car. Chris Miles just opened up a new web store for DeLorean parts. I think it's 88 miles.
Hello.
Hey Chris, how's it going? Hey,
Good.
you're live on DeLorean Tech.
Great.
So we are looking at I can't remember the VIN number. VIN 3016 3016. Any thoughts on this car?
So I was looking at the ad. We got about 21 minutes left.
Yep.
And it has a few things going for it. It's really in good physical condition, it seems. Interior is very nice. It's an early car, so it's got the gas flap hood. It has the fender-mounted antenna. Some quirks. Has those early door locks where you have a separate key for the door. And it seems like it's been taken care of. There's been some good updates. Suspension. Looks like the coolant tank, fuel lines have been done. But if you look kind of at the frame, you might want to make sure you can get some eyes on it, because it's either dirt or there's corrosion. Some of the pictures are kind of hard to tell.
Yeah, I noticed something too when I was going through these photos. Let's see if we can get to that real quick here. Yeah, so some of the undercarriage photos here. A little suspect is what I said, because it wasn't very clear. The lighting from behind the car looks like there's a lot of sunlight that's sort of obscuring the photos a little bit there. It's kind of hard to really see what's going on. Somebody did also point out that there's the fuel tank plate underneath wasn't complete. It looks like it's about half there.
Oh, yeah.
You notice that?
I see part of the fuel tank and the coolant line there. Yeah, that's interesting.
So that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. You don't want to be driving around with an exposed fuel tank, at least not with a DeLorean.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And a lowered DeLorean, for sure. They are just plastic, so anything in the road. But again, that's just something that can be done. It's really I don't see that as too difficult to fix.
Yeah. If you look at the front suspension, you can see the sway bar has some rust on it. So
Yeah, saw that.
Indication.
Looking at the rear, frame looks okay there. Epoxy looks like it's still good and everything. I mean, I don't see any invasive corrosion issues going on.
Yeah, that rear cross member looks like it's intact.
Yeah, it looks okay. But yeah, I'm curious about that. I think one of the guys on the chat pointed that out as well. It was one of the guys in the comments pointed that out. He said here the closing plate beneath the fuel tank is not factory clearly, and it does not cover the actual tank itself. It's just sort of, you know what I mean? So that's definitely an issue, and I don't know that he points that out. And this guy just bought the car in 2020, so he probably doesn't know a whole lot about what's going on with it. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's been very active in the comments either, as far as explaining stuff. Um,
He's got quite a few invoices for parts and whatnot listed.
yeah, I saw that. So it looks like stuff that he did, but who knows if he has previous records, prior to his ownership.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't notice anything substantial. Of course, it's only got 5,000 miles on it.
It's pretty low. I mean, but at this point, it's really hard to verify that kind of stuff now.
Yeah, I mean, looked like the angle drive is working. Um, the sender's not working, or it could be a stuck needle in the binnacle, the
Mm-hmm.
fuel gauge. That happened to mine. I don't know if you remember or not. When we did my fuel pump, I actually had to bump the binnacle to get the needle unstuck.
Yeah.
Remember that one? Hey, but it
Yeah.
worked, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the gauges are definitely temperamental. But he also includes the videos of him driving it, so clearly
Yeah.
the car is operational.
So the seller did comment yesterday about the records. He says he does not have records before his ownership. He did swap the Alpine radio back to the new old stock Craig. That's not something you see every day, but that's kind of cool. It's got an Optima battery. Didn't change out all of the fuel lines. I noticed he did the 9 fuel line kit, and I think he might have done the main supply line, because I did notice in the invoices he had another fuel line that he bought separate from the 9 hose kit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everyone seems to do the 9 because those are the easiest to do.
Yeah. And the most critical, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You could probably get away with the lower pressure lines, not doing those, but you definitely want to get the main 9 as well as the main supply line that goes from the fuel filter.
Right. We all know how fun that one is to do.
Yeah, exactly. You still tasting the gasoline?
I've modified my technique since then.
We gotta post that in a video. I'm serious, man. I mean, we've gotta post that. I still have that. We didn't include that in the actual how-to video for obvious reasons, but I still have that. Oh man! So we were working on this was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you who don't know, we have that video. Don't be that guy. In other words, don't be the guy who keeps your stock fuel lines, your original factory fuel lines. You want to replace those, right? And the thumbnail has burning DeLoreans and burnt DeLorean, stuff like that, right? So Chris and I were doing the fuel line. He was doing most of the work. Obviously, I was just sitting there filming. But I tried to get at the main supply line connection to the fuel filter, which is really hard because you're kind of just doing it by feel. It's really hard to see. We didn't have the car in a lift or anything. But I remember when you were trying to do that, I think the fuel started to spill out of the fuel filter right into your mouth. So that was unfortunate, and we do actually have that clip. We'll have to you'll have to remind me to upload that one of these days so we can show you what not to do. So don't be that guy again.
That'll be our DeLorean Tech After Dark segment.
Yeah, exactly. DeLorean Tech After Dark. I like it. New channel.
It looks like some of the headliners sagging in the center of
Yeah, I saw that. Cosmetic for sure. Can always be deferred until later. But so what do you think? Anything like that's just screaming at you besides obviously the frame issue and that the plate underneath the fuel tank?
I don't necessarily think so. Some of these coolant hoses look like they might be old, so you might address that. There's no coil cover around the ignition coil. That's not pictured. But those things tend to turn to dust after a while, so again, this car has a set of AVO shocks, and potentially they might be the ABOC springs. Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah.
You can see writing on them.
That's what it looks like, yeah.
This car has been lowered, and you can tell from the photos that it's not sitting high like they normally do.
Looks like the car probably sat for at least 2 extended periods of time here. Well, he's got gap entries in the Carfax between 81 and 92, and then from 92 to 2014. So it probably sat for most of its early life until about 2014 is probably when most of those miles were put on. So who knows?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see anything about whether or not the fuel pump was replaced.
Yeah, I don't see anything mentioned. The fuel stuff we see are like fuel lines, fuel filter.
Yeah.
The banjo bolts and stuff like that. But yeah, without seeing, inside of that fuel plate in the trunk, it's hard to know. I think it still has original radiator fans. I can see the big motors in one of the pictures.
So, are DeLorean prices dropping? What's your opinion on that, Chris?
I'd say probably at some level, yes. But I mean, the car last week, what sold for like $70,000, that's still good money.
Yeah.
And that time machine, that sold for 101 something, but people were saying it wasn't a very good conversion, so you get what you pay for.
Right.
I had mentioned this a while back on one of our other streams that I've been working on a car, and it's getting near complete. The clutch was replaced.
Okay.
And so it's drivable again, and there's just a few little things that I want to do to it before I sell it. But I mean, I think anything above $60,000 is probably a fair price for a car that's been sorted out. For example, DMC Florida just listed a car for $70,000 before they even did anything to it.
Wow. So that's on the DMC website right now?
They put it on their Facebook page.
Okay.
And I believe they bought it from California.
Oh, really?
Selling it, yeah. I think it was that Brea car that the group had been talking about.
The Brea car. Okay.
But it just shows you that that I think the prices are probably a little bit less, but at the same time, all of the vendors are still trying to get top dollar for cars.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And I mean, every other day it seems like there's someone else posting one for sale. The one just came up, posted today. It's a silver painted car, which is kind of interesting. But there's no lack of DeLoreans, it seems like, in the market right now.
Yeah, somebody pointed that out. I mean, the supply is there. I would think demand is still there, but with the way things are with the economy and people are kind of hurting right now.
Yeah, no kidding. But there's still always going to be that high-end collector that I think high-end collectors have finally started to appreciate, I think, the DeLorean for what it is. And I think a lot of other people that had been interested in DeLoreans are now trying to get them. And I think they're getting more popular amongst other car people.
Yeah, I think the popularity is kind of starting to spread a little bit, right?
Hmm.
Okay, so I am looking at the DMC Florida car right now. Um, looks pretty nice. I mean, looks like it's got about 15,000 miles on it. Still has the original plastic fuel bottle and fuel lines, and or not fuel bottle, the coolant overflow bottle. Um, but otherwise, it looks okay. So they wanted about 70,000 for that VIN 16294. Okay, 82 build, so it's an 83 car. Um,
But again,
hmm.
uh, what does it need? You know, I mean, it's hard to say. Or what are they going to charge you to fix it or to
Yeah.
do maintenance on it?
What's the
So.
estimate? Yeah, I'd be curious to see where this one ends up. Um,
And it's hard to know a lot of what happens to the dealer cars unless someone actually pipes up and said, "I bought it." It gets sold, and then we don't have an idea of where it ends up.
right, right. I was mentioning that earlier. I wish the guy who bought the time machine would at least make himself known out there, um, so we can find out exactly what he thought about the car. But
Mhm.
we've been in touch with some of the winners of auctions here. Bring a trailer. Some happy, and some not so happy.
Right.
And that's why we keep pushing the sellers at least to put more videos up, right, of the car driving and running
Hmm.
and starting up. I mean, that really makes a big difference. And when I don't see that, that's just a red flag to me because there's really no excuse nowadays for that, right? Uh,
Yeah. Everyone has an iPhone. Everyone can take
yeah,
videos. So.
yeah. And most of these guys, it's pretty obvious, when one sells, one auction ends, another one goes up just shortly thereafter. They try not to list them together, although right now you've got two that are listed simultaneously, which you
Yeah.
normally don't have that.
Yeah. So yeah, we got a lot of people selling.
A lot of people selling, maybe not as many people buying. So this one here, this other one that's online right now, it's currently at 35,000. I think you had an opinion about that one as well, right?
Um, yeah, I looked at it. Let me go back and see here.
So this is a later VIN 81, VIN 5937. It's got the white stripe kit, 41,000 miles, which I like. I like to see that. But I think you pointed out some issues here. Oh, and I can see those issues already in the engine compartment.
Yeah, and
Underneath, yep,
underneath.
yep.
So it's not as bad as what Beverly Hills Car Club has up right now. That one car, which
Uh
is
oh, uh oh. We need to go there.
it just goes to show you that so many of these cars have been put away somewhere, and then they're finally being like brought out from hibernation.
Yeah, because people need the money.
Yeah, or a relative passes away and they get the car and
That too.
they have no use for it.
Right? It's been sitting in the garage. And what do I do with this thing? Oh, those are expensive nowadays. Let's make some money. Not knowing what they've got or what it needs, they try to start it up, make things worse.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of a mess. So you're up against that. Of course, you can always just sort of detect what's been going on with the car as long as you look closely and as long as whoever's listing it has enough information about it, right?
Right. I don't necessarily know if this one is actually running or not. I don't think it. I don't know if it's. I guess it says that there was some work in 2017, so they just don't give a lot of like details of how it's working. Brake master cylinder replaced in 2020. There's no video on this car, so.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. I don't notice anything as far as it's always the general information that they give that everybody already knows.
Right. Exactly.
Okay, just tell us something we don't already know, right? 41,000 miles though, and exactly when did that happen? Unknown. Could have been 41,000 miles in 1985.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sat since then. It's still sitting at 35 right now, ending in 3 days. So that we're gonna round out our series here on DeLorean prices dropping with that particular one, just to see what happens. Um, there is no driving video. We have comments in here asking for some cold start and operation videos. Uh, no response by the seller. Very suspect. So I guess we're gonna find out what happens there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my opinion is always you should probably always go look at the car you want to buy before you buy it. I mean, that's like rule number one in my opinion.
I agree.
But these auctions are always, far away or whatever, so it's always hard to do. But I mean, I think you can save yourself some headache by inspecting the car you want to buy beforehand.
No, that makes sense. Even if you have to fly out there.
I mean, you're spending a lot of money, so
Yep.
the price of a plane ticket is not much in relation to that. 52 seconds on this car, $51,000. So we'll see if we get any bids coming in.
Yeah, I got another one. 52 now.
Yeah.
So we're in the final minutes here of this auction. 53. So they're coming in again.
So I assume this is going to go for at least 60.
Yeah, I actually thought it would go for more than the last one went for, but now that we've kind of talked about it a little bit, it may end up around the same. If it goes for less, I guess we'll find out, right?
Mm-hmm.
That might help answer the question. Are they dropping?
There's just a lot of different. Oh, there we go. There's a lot of different things that influence the price. Who's bidding? When is it ending? Obviously, the condition of the car, but there are cars that sell and bring a trailer for a lot of money that I think the condition is lacking. So it's that in the moment type of reaction I think that people get when they want to bid on a car.
Agreed. It's always hard to really know what you're getting yourself into on these auctions. You really need to make an informed decision. Driving videos always make a big difference. I want to say there was one where the buyer wasn't exactly very happy about what he ended up getting, even though there was I believe there was at least a startup video or running video. I don't know if there was a driving video though. I don't remember. Even then, I mean, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. So, like you said, if at all possible, see the car in person, and make sure you've seen other cars in person before you do that, so you know what to look for. Right?
Right. Well, 55. We still got a minute. 2 minutes. Oh, there we go. Reset.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a bidding war going on here, but with the car sitting in the 50s, you're going to expect that, especially a car that, I mean, it looks pretty good. There's just a couple of issues that, we pointed out. Hardly anything
Deal breaker wise.
Yeah. No deal breakers here, right? So I was expecting it to go for a little bit more than the last one, but we will see what happens. I think this one has less miles, right? Yeah, this one's only 5,000.
5,000.
Yeah, the other one was what, 7,000 or something like that?
Well, we're at 60 already.
60,000, so here we go. $65. see who's bidding on it. So somebody else who bid on, oh, there was a 7,000 mile DeLorean back in August that he bid on. That one went for 79. I think we might have skipped that one for a live stream. 62,000 by Striker. Striker again.
Well, this GS450 guy, he's in the running too. They keep going against each other here.
Yeah, Striker has also bid on some DeLoreans this month as well. He bid on the trying to remember if that was a 7,000 mile car. Oh, 12,000 mile car. Okay. This one here. And Time Machine, and now this one here as well. So we are at 62,500 in the final moments of bidding here. So I did take a look at that Beverly Hills Car Club car.
Yeah.
Looks like it's 40,000, just under 40,000. They're asking for it. Man, it looks pretty rough. It's missing like a door panel. It's an automatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of issues going on here. Needs a lot of work. Engine compartment has seen better days. Wow, corrosion is very advanced on that one. Yeah, that one's definitely a project for sure. Oh man, yeah, I would say definitely some major corrosion issues on the frame itself.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. That would be hard pressed to buy it at that price.
Yeah. So the frame extension on that car is definitely need to be replaced. You can see that.
Oh, it needs a whole new frame.
It needs a whole new frame, actually, huh? 20 seconds left. 62,500. Oh, 63.
Here we go.
Yeah. Gonzalo and GS450. A Striker.
65.
Yeah, so we've got about 3 bidders here that are serious about this car. They want this car.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to let you go. I've got some stuff to take care of.
No problem, Chris. Thank you again, as always. Your insight on these cars is invaluable, as always. So we will see you, hopefully, in a few more days on part 3 of our DeLorean prices dropping. So have a good one, Chris. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So that was Chris Miles. Oh, we're at 65,000. So my prediction on this one was that it would exceed, well, it should exceed 70,000, which was the price that the last one went for, the last stock DeLorean went for, if I remember correctly. And yeah, 70,000, this one here. And this was just a few days ago. So there's been quite a few DeLoreans popping up. You can kind of see where these cars have been selling right here on Bring a Trailer's little graph that they've got. And this is that Time Machine right there. So Time Machine selling for less than a stock DeLorean. Although, you know, the question about whether it was a good conversion or not is kind of out there. Stock DeLoreans here in the 80s, you know, in August. Now we're in October and we're seeing prices slide a little bit, but it's really hard to say, you know. This may just be the very beginning of the slide. But after this DeLorean sold for $106,000, this 569 mile car, which was quite high, one of the highest ever since Johnny Carson's DeLorean, sold for 110 almost 2 years ago. So, and that was only back in July of this year. 106,000, of course, a 569-mile car. Are we done with this auction yet? 65,500, ending in 40 seconds. So we'll see if we can get up to 70 on this one. If not, whoever gets this car, and you can take it for less than what the last one sold for, it's a pretty good deal. So what do we have here in the comments and the chat? Hey, Dustin, thanks a lot, man. So Dustin Hennick is a good buddy. He's got an early VIN 81 with the gas flap, and he uses his car as a daily driver. And he is out of Palm Springs, and I think we've done a few videos with his car in it. I think one of the more popular videos that we have is the Just Say No to R134A in your DeLorean. That was done on his car. It was a recharge using RedTech. And that's one of our more popular videos. There's been a few complaints about that video, mainly because we did it kind of in a pinch and I didn't record everything that I should have. So I may do another one. I may do an updated AC recharge video in the near future. I still have a bunch of RedTech. I did an AC recharge recently, or at least the most recent ones were on David Daniels 81 and trying to think. Oh yeah, Brandon Fayette. I did an AC recharge on his car. That was probably the last one that I did. And so far, their AC systems are doing well. So no problems there with the RedTech. Mine, I did my recharge on the DeLorean Tech car back in 2019, and it's still blowing colder than it ever has been since I did it. So, you know, when I bought the car, it needed a recharge. It was recharged with 134A. Big mistake. Blew the Highline. Got a video on the Highline replacement. And then I did the recharge. And ever since then, it's been running absolutely perfect. Cannot ask for more than that. Dustin, I think his is doing well. Although I think we did top it off. 10 seconds left. 66,000. Are we not going to hit 70 on this? That might answer our question. Our DeLorean price is dropping. I think we might be done here, guys. Looks like Stryker might have landed this one for 66. Did he win it? It looks like he did. So it looks like Dustin did a compressor swap on his car as well, and then recharged it with RedTech again. I think we're done here, guys. I think this car ended up selling for 66. Which kind of answers our question a little more now. Our DeLorean price is dropping. I mean, this car, arguably a better car than the last one that sold last week. And yeah, 66,000, Dustin. That's what I'm seeing here. There is a little bit of delay in the live stream, as always. I'm seeing the delay right now on my OBS. So yeah, it looks like 66. So let me see if I can refresh. Oh, winning bid. Yep, 66,000. So Stryker, congratulations. $66,000, not a bad deal. It's got driving videos on this car. Went for less than the last car. At least the last stock DeLorean. Here on Bring a Trailer. We've got to congratulate now, are they dropping or really are they just more softening? I mean, that's a $4,000 drop from the last one for arguably a better car. Let's take a look at that last one. let's see here. It went for 70,000. That's this guy right here. I think this was a 12,000 mile car, an automatic. Okay, you know, it's not a bad car. I think he had some driving videos that we pointed out. So good driving videos on that. This guy had driving videos too. You know, he had some original stuff going on in the engine compartment. This car did not. This car here that just sold for less had some fuel line upgrades, had the stainless steel overflow bottle. The only thing that really stood out was questionability on the frame in some of these photos. Then there was the fuel tank plate underneath. Let's see if we can find that photo. It was a little questionable because they had another plate in there. I don't know what the deal is with that. That's just kind of strange. You don't normally see that. I've never seen that before. So I'm trying to find that photo. Oh, here it is. So the plate was obviously not a stock plate. They cut something else and bolted it up into there, and doesn't look like they have as many bolts. There's quite a few bolts on this one here, but you can see the fuel tank right there. I don't know what's going on here, but that'll need to be addressed. Again, that's not a big deal. I don't know why they did it that way. I'm beginning to suspect, though, that just based on what I'm seeing here with this fuel tank, it almost looks like it might be a little low relative to, I believe that is that's the frame extension right there, or at least the top of the frame. So it may be that when they tried to go back after maybe they did pull the fuel tank to clean it, I don't know, but after they tried to put it back in there, maybe they couldn't tuck it up as high as it was originally, and they decided to do something else. Who knows, right? So that's going to have to be addressed. You don't want to drive around with an exposed plastic fuel tank. So other than that, I didn't notice anything really sort of alarming about the car. And what do we got here? So Voracious Patriot has a stage 2 that he is going to be putting up soon, unfortunately. So we're looking forward to that one. So Dustin is asking if automatics will become more desirable as the years go on. Well, you never know. I mean, we had an automatic go for more than a manual, and the manual car, this one here, I would say is a better car. It just, you know, it is what it is. But maybe whoever bought that automatic, they wanted the automatic for whatever reason. There's nothing wrong with automatics. You know, it's just I think typically you see people wanting the manual transmissions more. They're just more desirable. But when it comes to an auction like this, it could go any way. So it's really hard to say. I would say right now, the way it stands, the higher the cars that go for a lot more are more than likely going to be manual cars, but you can still get a lot of money for an automatic car as well, especially if it's been gone through. There are no issues. It's still a very sound vehicle, runs good, starts up good, and all that. Shouldn't be an issue. You know, the other thing about manuals is not as many people nowadays know how to drive a manual transmission car, so that could absolutely affect the demand there. There aren't as many DeLoreans, though. There aren't that many out there, so it's really sort of a niche audience. Although, according to Chris Miles, the interest is spreading, it's growing. But we're in a situation right now with our economy here. Things are going down, the global economy. Prices are eventually going to drop. As everybody keeps saying, it's only a matter of time, right? And we're kind of seeing that right now. This is a pretty good car. It didn't go for quite as much as I thought it was going to go for. So I think that confirms kind of what we're thinking here, that DeLorean prices are beginning to slide a little bit. Now, how far will they go down? That kind of remains to be seen, but $66,000 for a car like this, it's definitely, I would say a few months ago, I probably would have gotten at least $10,000 more. So with that said, we're going to conclude the video. We will see you again in a few days for part 3. Part 3 is going to be on this car right here. Which one was it? Let's find out. Let's take a look. So this car, this next car here, which is currently sitting at 35,000. This one has a few more issues compared to the other car. This might be a project car. It's kind of hard to say. There's not a whole lot. I mean, you can tell that engine compartment definitely has seen better days. So we will finish off with that video. And I thank you once again for watching. And we'll see you soon.